handling difficult people is all about being assertive. I'm sure you've heard this before. But what is assertiveness and how can you use it in real life situations? Assertive communicators are balanced communicators. They spend 50% of the conversation focusing on other people and 50% of the discussion describing their own perspectives. Assertive people are great at listening, and they're also great at speaking up. It's the speaking up part of the equation that we'll be focusing on today. Speaking up assertively means getting your point across using clear, honest, and appropriate language. It's about getting your point through without triggering the defenses of the person you're speaking to. Let's face it, sometimes this can be very challenging indeed. And that's where flameproof language techniques can really help you. Flameproof language is direct and honest without being confronting. To use it, there are 3 rules that you need to keep in mind. No blaming, no shaming, no complaining. Now, you might be wondering what's left to do. Well, here are 3 basic techniques I teach in my programs on Difficult People Made Easy. The first technique is saying how it is for you clearly. In other words, taking responsibility for your perceptions, your feelings, and your thoughts. And you do this by actively tagging that they are your feelings and your thoughts. So saying how it is for you means speaking from the I position, starting your sentences with things like, I see it this way, or I think, or I feel. These starter phrases are great ways to keep your message neutral and therefore unlikely to trigger an emotional reaction. Technique 2, especially when you're giving feedback, is about describing behaviours, not attributes. There's a huge difference between saying, I noticed you've come in 15 minutes after start time every day this week, and saying, you're irresponsible and lazy. The point about describing behaviours is that you are talking about actions, and people can change those. Attributes are part of their basic human personality, and so they're unlikely to be able to change them, but behaviours can always change. Technique number 3 is to avoid generalising. Saying things like, you're always late, isn't helpful. The other person will always be able to find an exception to that rule. So when you're speaking from an I position, always avoid words like everyone, always, must, continuously. Instead, give specific examples and focus on changing only one thing at a time. So there you have it. 3 techniques that you can use to make sure you get your point across using language which minimizes the chance of defensive reactions. You can find out a lot more about this style of language in Difficult People Made Easy. Meanwhile, I look forward to seeing how you go with putting these techniques into action.